After you've activated your wildcard, you should make sure that your team on the wildcard page of your spreadsheet is the same as your new team on the FPL website. You might want to select a team that you had already used your spreadsheet to plan for, or you could use the drop-down menus to select new players if you've entered a different team. Then you need to go to your previous page and make sure that all the prices are correct. So in this scenario, Jamie Vardy has risen by 0.1 the night before we wildcarded. And that should mean that we now have an extra 0.1 in the budget. Then you need to make sure that there's a K in column N next to the players that you're keeping from the previous team. So we're keeping Mendy, Wan-Bissaka and Salah, and then you need to make sure that their purchase prices are entered correctly. So we bought Mendy for 6.0, Wan-Bissaka for 4.0 and Salah for 13.0. The other cells in the purchase price column will contain formulas. This will allow you to easily edit your squad, but you'll need to overwrite these purchase prices when your new players rise or fall in price while your wildcard is active. You also need to make sure that the current game week is entered into the wildcard box at the top of the page. Now I'll show you how you should edit your spreadsheet when your players change prices while your wildcard is active. So let's say you wildcard on Monday, and then on Monday night the following players change in price. So here we've got Alexander-Arnold, Wan-Bissaka and Ings. And the first thing you should do is manually enter their purchase price into the PP column. So we bought Alexander-Arnold for 5.0. Wan-Bissaka is already entered correctly because we've kept him from the previous page. And then we entered Ings for 5.7. Then you can update their current prices by following the normal method. So you press return on the player team CP column and press backspace until you see their new price and you click on it. Now I'll show you how you should update your spreadsheet when you want to change your wildcard team. You'll see in the instructions document that there are 5 different instructions. The method that you should follow will depend on who you are transferring out. I'll go over the first instructions first. So, if you are transferring out a player whose price hasn't changed since you bought him earlier in the game week, you can simply use the drop-down menu to select a new player. So if we want to transfer out Madison, we can scroll down, or we can type in new player. If you are transferring out a player who was in your team before you wildcarded, you should go to the previous page, make sure his selling price is correct, so update his price if it needs to be updated, then delete the K from column N, and go back to your wildcard page, delete his name from the player team CP column, and then you should, before you select his replacement, make sure the formula is entered correctly into the PP cell. So to do that, you can go from the cell above, if there's a formula there, and click in the corner when the cross appears on the screen. Hold down the left mouse button and let go. Now you can see that there's a formula there, and you can see that you've got 4.3 left to spend. Then you can select your new player. If you are transferring out a player who has only risen by 0.1 since you bought him earlier in the game week, you should first delete his name from the player team CP column. So we're transferring out Ings. Then you should re-enter the formula into the PP column. So you can do that by dragging down, as I've shown you before. If the cell above doesn't contain a formula, you can go to a cell which has a formula you can see up here. You can copy by right-clicking and selecting copy, and then going to the empty cell, right-clicking and selecting paste. Now you can select your new player. You can see that we've got 6.0 to spend. So you can find the players who cost 6.0 by typing that into the search bar, and we'll go for Muto. Finally, I'll show you what you need to do if you're transferring out a player who's dropped in price or risen by more than 0.1 since you bought him earlier in the game week. So in this scenario, Alexander-Arnold has risen twice since you bought him, but you now want to transfer him out. You can see that you've made a 0.1 profit on him since you bought him, so you just have to add that profit to your starting budget cell. So you press return in cell H3 up here, press return, then type in plus 0.1, press return. Then you can delete his name, re-enter the formula into the PP column by dragging down in the cell above, and then you can select your new player. It shows you now have 0.6 in the bank. If you're transferring out a player who's dropped in price since you bought him, then you can type in minus 0.1 into this cell.